This young man was celebrating his own birthday with his family, when suddenly something fell through the house, causing his parents and younger sister to die on the spot. The space around suddenly transformed horribly, the sky turned crimson, the stench of blood filled the air, the building shook violently. The bodies of his parents and younger sister were thrown off the 26th floor, while Yi Hao could only scream in despair before a giant monster's arm pierced through the building. A gigantic monster appeared right before his eyes, making him feel powerless and scream out loud. He woke up in the classroom, realizing it was a nightmare. However, the dream was so realistic that it left him trembling. He was a top student in a world that was far from ordinary. In the year 2036, the Earth underwent a mutation that led to demonic beasts spreading everywhere. Along with that, humans could also level up and evolve to adapt to the crisis. Although he was a top student, intelligent and kind, he was one of the rare cases who could not level up, waste, in the era of the strong. After class, Yi Hao was stopped by Luo Feng's group demanding a protection fee. Even though he had once helped Luo Feng before, now that guy turned on him, beating and mocking him as a level 3 waste who can't ascend. At that moment, Yi Yunfei, his younger sister, appeared. She flew in and kicked Luo Feng straight in the face, sending him flying hundreds of meters away. She was a 16-year-old girl but had already reached level 7, regarded as a genius of the academy. Though comforted, Yi Hao still felt pain and shame, blaming himself for being useless. He resolved not to give up, believing there would be a way to overcome his limits. Then the two went home together. That night, during the birthday dinner, the scene from his dreams seemed to repeat. To change fate, Yi Hao invited his whole family to eat hot pot at another restaurant, deliberately avoiding the scene from the dream. Everything seemed fine, but when the family returned, a spatial crack suddenly appeared. From it, a giant spider, a level 15 demonic beast, crawled out, spreading death within the human safe zone. Yi Hao's father did not hesitate to rush forward. His mouth did not forget to remind the two siblings to protect their mother. Although he was only level 10, even if it cost his life, he had to hold the monster back so that his wife and children could escape. But the difference in strength between a level 10 martial artist and a level 15 demonic beast was like heaven and earth. Yi Hao's father was quickly hit by the spider's venom. After a few more attacks, he fell unconscious. Instead of pulling her two children to run away, the mother chose to rush in to die together. In fact, she was just rushing in to give up her life, not to die together. It made no sense, it was absurd. The demon-eyed beast didn't even bother to glance at her, it only wanted to tear apart the prey before it and savor the taste of a level 10 martial artist. Just as the spider was about to deliver the finishing blow, two arrows suddenly shot straight into its body. It turned out the archer was the younger sister. Instead of running away with her brother, she wanted to follow their mother's example. Provoked, the demon-eyed beast immediately turned to attack. She turned and urged Yi Hao to take their parents and escape. But at that moment, Yi Hao was so terrified he froze in place. The nightmare he had just experienced had truly become reality. He didn't know what to do. A level 3 martial artist like him facing a level 15 demonic beast was no different from a mantis trying to stop a chariot. Soon, Yi Yunfei was also struck by the venom. She fell flat on the ground, screaming in pain. The monster seemed to lose interest in its old prey and shifted its focus to the young girl's body. Badly wounded and unable to move, Yi Yunfei could only watch as the spider's sharp leg came down, ready to pierce through her body. However, that attack never touched her. At the final moment, Yi Hao rushed forward, blocking the spider's leg with his bare hand. He urged her to run before things got worse. But soon he was crushed by the spider, turned into a bloody mess. Witnessing the horrific scene, Yi Yunfei cried without a sound. With the last of his strength, Yi Hao still tried to warn his sister. "Don't worry about me, go now." He could feel every fiber of his flesh being torn apart by the monster, but that physical pain was nothing compared to the heartbreak within him. If I were strong enough, this tragedy would never have happened. Why am I so weak? Why can't I level up? His blood dropped rapidly, only 1% remained. He refused to die like this. It seemed Yihao's desperate plea was answered. At the moment he was about to pass out, mechanical, beep. Beep sounds echoed. A series of system windows appeared before his eyes. The host's accumulated experience has reached the standard. The royal account system has been activated. But Yihao had already fallen unconscious, no longer hearing or seeing anything. The host cannot act independently. The system will perform a random selection. Successfully selected royal account, Qi Yan Emperor. At this moment, Yi Yunfei had no idea about her brother's fortune. She was still running with all her might. But the demon-eyed beast arrogantly appeared again, blocking the only exit. Was her brother's sacrifice only worth this much time? Yi Yunfei fell into despair. Since she couldn't escape, she decided to fight to the death. But just as she charged toward the monster, Yihao's familiar voice suddenly echoed from behind. Get out of the way. By instinct, Yi Yunfei immediately dodged to the side. Right after that, a dazzling beam of light shot past her. And at the center of that beam of light was her brother, the one she thought was dead. The blazing flames engulfed Yihao's entire body. His younger sister behind him stood with her mouth agape in shock. In front of him, the demon-eyed beast had just taken a full blow but quickly regained its momentum. Being provoked by a level 3 martial artist, its fury burned even stronger. Yihao did not flinch. The flame shadow sword appeared in his hand, its blade shining with blinding fire. He charged forward with lightning speed that street racers could only dream of. Immediately after, the monster's scream echoed, tearing through space. The spider took the slash head-on, its syrup splattering everywhere, and it cried out in panic, "No, you're clearly just a level 3 martial artist. Ah, how can you possess such immense power?" The attack had injured the beast, but the price Yihao paid was not small either. He felt as if his body was about to shatter, every fiber of his flesh screaming under the pressure of the mysterious power that had just erupted. This energy had far surpassed the limit a level 3 martial artist could endure. Seeing Yihao cough up large pools of blood, the monster immediately regained its confidence. TSK, only 3 seconds of combat power. Weak humans. Forcing explosive strength from a level 3 martial artist's body without me doing anything, you'll explode and die on your own. The opponent wasn't exaggerating. Yihao's health bar was already empty, replaced by a yellow energy gauge that was steadily dropping by the second. If it ran out before he defeated the demon-eyed beast, he would truly die. Realizing Yihao's body was about to self-destruct, the monster lost all interest in fighting. The celestial beast lord finally helped me open the teleportation gate of the safe zone. I must hurry and swallow a few high-level martial artists. Trash like you can just stay here and die. Of course, Yihao couldn't let it leave so easily. He immediately used the 13th form of the breath of the sun blazing infernal prison, creating a ring of fire to block the beast's path. The demon-eyed beast turned back. Facing Yihao's furious gaze, it couldn't help but shiver. How could a level 3 martial artist possess eyes filled with such overwhelming pressure? At that moment, hurried footsteps echoed from behind. Report, the rescue squad has arrived, victims located, commencing aid, target identified level 15 demonic beast, the demon-eyed beast. The rescue martial squad had arrived, but the situation grew even worse. Yihao urgently warned them, for with their strength, they were no match for the beast. However, no one paid attention to a level 3 martial artist's words. They even mocked him as a delusional brat. Get out of the way, don't stand there getting in our way. They pushed Yi Hao aside and quickly formed a formation, surrounding the demon-eyed beast. Though of lower rank, they were confident in their numbers. Moreover, after the battle with Yi Hao, the beast's health bar was only 30%. But they were too naive. Before they could attack, spider threads burst from the ground, binding them tightly. Their weapons became useless, and their plan of many versus one completely collapsed. Just like that, one by one, the members of the rescue team were devoured by the demon-eyed beast. After absorbing the entire group of martial artists, it leveled up 3 times in a row, becoming a level 18 demonic beast. The spider charged toward Yi Hao, determined to finish him. Its strength was now on a completely different level. Demonic beasts were difficult to evolve, but each breakthrough was an earth-shattering leap. It decided to toy with Yi Hao in its grasp, waiting until he was barely breathing before eating him. The beast's sudden surge of power made it harder and harder for Yi Hao to resist, while the mysterious energy inside his body was nearly depleted. Seeing him falter, the spider laughed gleefully. "Huh, weren't you so fierce just now? Why can't you even fight back anymore? Trash will always be trash, isn't that right?" Yi Hao was sent flying again, his consciousness fading. At that moment, when his life force dropped below 10%, the system automatically activated the ultimate finishing skill, Crimson Flame Tempest. Yi Hao struggled to stand. It had been 3 years. He had been mocked countless times for being unable to level up. Today, he would show them how powerful the so-called trash could be. Crimson Flame Tempest was unleashed. As an ultimate skill, its power was terrifyingly immense. The spider was immediately engulfed in a massive inferno cyclone. Its screams of agony seemed to tear the very sky apart. The blazing flames clung tenaciously to the demon-eyed beast, impossible to extinguish. It quickly realized this was no ordinary fire, but one that contained the Tao resonance of an Emperor Realm powerhouse. Despite its fierce resistance, the spider-shaped beast ultimately still perished under Yi Hao's hand. In its final moments, it cried out in despair for some celestial beast lord, but it was useless. Immediately after, the system's notification board appeared. Yi Hao had defeated the demon-eyed beast, receiving 20,000 experience points along with several other items. Exhausted, he collapsed the instant he exited the state of the Qi Yan Emperor. With the last trace of consciousness, Yi Hao crawled along the ground, trying to collect the spoils of battle. He could not let the fruits of his life and death struggle fall into someone else's hands. Before blacking out, he managed to stash 15,000 gold coins, a rare grade level 15 demon core, a lucky realm ring, 5 venomous spider threads, and the corpse of the demon-eyed beast into his inventory. Because Yi Hao's injuries were too severe, the royal account system automatically used 10,000 experience points to heal him, leaving 10,000 remaining. The process occurred instantly. Although his health bar had recovered to 100%, he still remained unconscious. He didn't know how much time had passed when Yi Hao suddenly awoke. To find himself inside the system space. Ever since the Earth's mutation, every player had possessed a private space to manage attributes and items. Yi Hao had been used to his tiny one, but the space before his eyes now was vast like an endless galaxy. In the middle of that space stood the massive body of the Qi Yan Emperor, with a note beside it, maximum level. Being intelligent, Yi Hao immediately guessed this was the mysterious source of power he had just used. Right at that moment, the voice of the royal account system sounded again, "Welcome, host, to the royal account system." Within the system are countless royal-ranked accounts from many games. The host can use personal experience to unlock each of these royal accounts. Because the host's accumulated experience has reached level 10, the random account Qi Yan Emperor has been automatically activated. In an instant, Yi Hao understood everything. Level 10. It seemed his 3 years of effort hadn't been in vain, it was just that all the experience had been forcibly absorbed by this system, keeping him stuck at level 3. And what about this maximum level Qi Yen Emperor account? If I can wield that power, wouldn't I soar in one step? Although the Qi Yen Emperor initially exists at maximum level, the host must still use personal experience points to increase the synchronization level with this royal account. The higher the synchronization, the more power of the royal account can be brought forth. Therefore, it is recommended that the host quickly gather more experience to raise synchronization. Yi Hao felt a bit deflated. Indeed, there is no free meal in this world. But using the Qi Yen Emperor's power to earn experience shouldn't be too difficult. However, brute force alone wasn't enough. This world contained countless known and unknown dungeons, strength alone could not solve every problem. He needed to quickly figure out how to optimize this system. He clicked into the Qi Yen Emperor account to view details. The system introduced it as a maximum level powerhouse from another realm, one who led his clan to unify the world with the power of Crimson Flame, became the supreme sovereign, and was honored by later generations as the Qi Yen Emperor. The powerhouse's level had reached the maximum, while the synchronization level with Yi Hao was 10. Attributes: Flame, Fire, and Darkness, Shadow. The weapon was the Flame Shadow Greatsword he had used earlier. Basic flame attribute skills were all at level 10, including Explosive Infernal Prison, Dark Flame True Fire, and Explosive Flame Dragon Bullet. Ultimate flame skills included Crimson Flame Tempest at level 10 and Deep Crimson Star still locked. All darkness attribute skills were also locked. Yi Hao stared at the skill board. Ever since Earth entered the OL era, mutual generation and counteraction between attributes had become extremely important. He immediately set his near-term goal: level up quickly, unlock as many accounts as possible, and create a Royal Legion with all attributes. Then he could counter any opponent. At this time, the system also notified him that he still had 10,000 experience points, which could be used to raise synchronization or unlock supportive skills. Yi Hao did not hesitate and chose the first option. Enhancing survivability and unlocking new accounts were top priorities, skills could come later. 10,000 experience points exchanged for 2 more levels. The synchronization level between him and the Qi Yen Emperor rose to 12. Yi Hao clearly felt a fresh current of energy flooding his body, as if his own attributes had just been enhanced. Eagerly, he opened his personal stats panel, but the result disappointed him. He was still the level 3 waste as before. It seemed this system did not raise his actual level. From now on, Yi Hao would have to live the life of a pig eating the tiger. Why does it require so much money? A girl's anxious voice suddenly rang out, pulling Yi Hao out of the system space. He jolted awake, realizing he was lying in a hospital. The voice belonged to his younger sister, Yi Yunfei, drifting in from outside the door. What shocked Yi Hao even more was his completely healed body. The system had not only restored his health but also mended every wound. Those 10,000 experience points were truly worth it. Outside, the argument continued. This time, he also heard his mother's voice. "Doctor, have you made a mistake? Why is the treatment fee so high? Even if we used advanced healing medicine, it shouldn't be this much." Yi Yunfei coughed harshly, sounding unbearably unwell. "Fei, don't agitate yourself, your injuries haven't healed yet." He quietly breathed a sigh of relief knowing his family was safe, but it seemed they were in trouble. He got out of bed and stepped out to take a look. It turned out Yi Yunfei was arguing with the doctor over a treatment bill of 500,000 yuan. The doctor explained that all 4 family members had been afflicted by the deadly venom of an elite demonic beast. To be completely cured, they would have to use specialized medicine over a long period. Of course, patients may choose to recover naturally, the doctor added. The result would be long-term weakness, but not life-threatening. However, that only applies to the 2 women. The two men in your family are not so fortunate. Without the medicine, your father will at most live another month, and you, he looked at Yi Hao, won't survive a week. The doctor's word struck Yi Yunfei like a heavy blow. She cried while coughing violently from agitation. Her mother hurried to support her, comforting her that there was no need to worry about money, at worst they could sell the house. Yi Hao had heard the entire conversation. He stepped out and spoke resolutely. There's no need to sell the house, it's our foundation. Father and mother worked half their lives to buy it, we can't sell it. I'll find a way to earn the treatment money as soon as possible. The doctor was astonished. Clearly, when he had been brought in, this youth had sustained fatal injuries and was diagnosed not to live a week without the medicine. Seeing her barefoot brother jump out of bed, Yi Yunfei became extremely worried. She wanted to speak, but a fit of coughing struck her, making her wounds ache even more. When Yi Hao approached, the doctor suddenly realized that all the deadly toxins in his body had completely vanished. Yi Hao, who had been the most severely injured and poisoned, could not possibly have recovered this quickly on his own. Now he not only seemed fine but looked perfectly healthy. Yi Hao didn't want to explain at length. The reason didn't matter as long as he no longer needed treatment. He turned to ask the doctor about the medical costs for his parents and younger sister. The number given was 300,000 yuan. It was an enormous amount, but Yi Hao confidently asserted that he could manage it. He asked the doctor for 1 hour to prepare the money. Though the doctor found it nearly impossible, he still agreed to give Yi Hao a bit more time. Yi Hao quickly left the hospital, his mind immediately calculating. He had always been frugal, yet even with all his savings combined with the spoils from slaying the demon-eyed beast, it was still not enough for 300,000. The fastest way now was to sell his equipment. The most valuable item in his inventory was the rare level 18 demon core dropped from the giant spider. Demon cores from beasts were the basic materials for crafting magic equipment. The higher the rank, the greater the value. However, taking it to an official auction would fetch a better price but require too much time, and he had only 1 hour. Moreover, auctions were rank restricted. As a level 3 martial artist, he had no qualification to participate. After some consideration, Yi Hao was left with only one option, the underground black market. It was an unrestricted area within safe zone number 9, where anyone could trade freely. Although prices there were secretly manipulated by major corporations and the situation was chaotic and dangerous, it was still the fastest place to make money. The old Yi Hao would never have dared to come here alone, but now things were different. As soon as he stepped through the black market's gate, 2 burly men blocked his path. Seeing the small, thin boy wrapped tightly from head to toe, they immediately scowled and drove him away aggressively. Yi Hao's voice turned cold. I didn't come here to play. I came to sell something. Isn't your black market supposed to allow anyone to trade freely? If I dare come here, I must have something good. Step aside, I'm in a hurry. Humph, what kind of good stuff could a brat like you possibly have? Get lost, kid, I don't have time to mess around. Just as Yi Hao thought he was about to get beaten, the door behind the 2 guards suddenly opened. A short old man stepped out, respectfully addressed by those around him as elderly. This young man is right, our business runs for profit. As long as one has something good, anyone can trade. I wonder what fine item this young friend has. Would you show this old man and broaden my horizons? Yi Hao sighed in relief. At last, someone reasonable. Without hesitation, he took out the level 18 demon core. The moment elderly saw it, his eyes lit up. He hurriedly ordered his subordinates to invite Yi Hao inside for detailed discussion. The heavy wooden doors opened, revealing a luxurious underground trading hall, completely different from the noisy, shabby night market Yi Hao had imagined. As he curiously glanced around, a drunken man suddenly grabbed him. Well, a level 3 brat daring to show up here. Isn't it milk time for you? Go home to your mom. Ha ha ha, you come here to sell stuff to buy milk, huh? Let me see what good item you've got there. They had barely finished mocking when Elder Lee's subordinates barged in, faces fierce. Back off. This is Elder Lee's guest. Are you tired of living? With that, the man led Yi Hao deeper inside. The drunkards watched and muttered, who does he think he is, throwing his weight around as a representative of the Huangjing Corporation. Elder Lee isn't any better. That kid's probably going to suffer today. Keep your voice down. You trying to get yourself killed? Yi Hao was completely unaware. He entered the VIP room, walking straight into the tiger's den. Elder Lee was already waiting, surrounded by dozens of strong bodyguards. Being an experienced trader, he got straight to the point. The moment Yi Hao sat down, Elder Lee began. The demon core in your hand is indeed a fine item, but after all, it's only level 18, so the price. Before he could finish, Yi Hao interrupted, starting off by cutting the price already. If we're doing business, let's be straightforward. Drop the tricks and show some sincerity. I may be a level 3 martial artist, but I'm not a 3-year-old child. I can tell the value of what I have. Just name a number. I'm in a hurry. Elder Lee suddenly burst out laughing. Haha, interesting. This little brother may not have a high level, but his aura is impressive. I'll be straightforward then. If it were an ordinary demon core, it would only be worth 1 or 2 rare ones like yours. I'll offer 100,000. This time, Yi Hao laughed. So much for being a respectable businessman. This old man really thought he was dealing with a 3-year-old. Just when Yi Hao had thought him courteous and reasonable, he turned out to be a cunning fraud. Even if black market prices were lower than official auction rates, this demon core should fetch at least 200,000. For a mere 100,000, he'd rather find someone else. Thinking so, Yi Hao stood up, intending to leave, but Elder Lee's 2 bodyguards immediately blocked his way. It seems you've misunderstood. Since you've already come here, whether you sell or not is no longer your decision. Besides, no one has ever refused to sell something that the Huangjing Corporation has taken interest in. Yi Hao couldn't gauge Elder Lee's level. He thought to himself, so they can't buy it, and now they plan to rob me. This is the black market. No one cares what happens here. He could escape using the royal account of the Qi Yan Emperor, but causing a scene wouldn't benefit him. He'd have to leave empty-handed. And right now, earning money for his family's treatment was his top priority. Seeing Yi Hao remain silent, Elder Lee pulled out a wad of money and threw it on the table. 100,000 is already a huge amount for a kid like you. Don't be greedy. His attitude made everything clear. Yi Hao decided he'd have to resolve this by force. There was no way he would sell the demon core at such a loss. But before he could act, the VIP room door suddenly burst open. A mocking voice rang out from behind the 2 guards. The mighty Huangjing Corporation bullying a level 3 kid? Truly disgraceful. Immediately after, a tall, burly man appeared, brushing aside the 2 guards with both hands as if swatting away noodles. Yet this giant was merely the bodyguard for a petite, beautiful young lady who stepped in right after. I heard there's something valuable here, so this young lady came to join the fun. It was Mo Kenny, a level 20 martial artist and the eldest daughter of the Han Mo Corporation. At the sight of her, Elder Lee unconsciously clenched his fists, forcing down his anger. Well, if it isn't Miss Mo herself. What brings you to such a messy place and even to snatch away this old man's deal? Mo Kenny clearly disliked the word snatch. The rule of fair trade, whoever offers the higher price wins, has existed in this black market for ages. Elder Lee, you're the one crying thief while being the thief yourself. Elder Lee stayed silent for a long moment. Yi Hao was puzzled. Mo Kenny. That name sounds familiar. Then she turned to Yi Hao and stated bluntly, the demon core in your hand, 300,000 yuan. The number made Elderly leap to his feet. That brat just shouted 200,000, and you're offering 300,000. What's your game? Oh, this young lady spends freely because she can. I'm not like your Huangjing Corporation, which even tries to rob a level 3 kid. Spending an extra 100,000 to humiliate your corporation is money well spent. Mo Kenny's words made Elder Lee's face turn red with fury. Knowing he couldn't win, he left in anger with his guards. Yi Hao quietly observed the whole scene. The rumors about the rivalry between the Huangjing and Han Mo corporations in Safe Zone Number 9 were indeed true. Seeing Mo Kenny spend so much, why not take advantage? He spoke up to promote himself. Thank you, beautiful lady. I still have a few other items. Would you be interested? Not interested. Mo Kenny replied instantly, her tone cold and distant, completely unlike before. You don't need to thank me. I only used this opportunity to humiliate the Huangjing Corporation. Your business has nothing to do with me, you just happen to appear in my line of sight. With that, Mo Kenny ordered her men to pay and left the demon core for them to handle. She couldn't care less, even if they threw it away. Watching her back, Yi Hao clicked his tongue silently. What an arrogant young lady. Still, she had helped him escape Elder Lee and solved his financial problem. That favor, he would never forget. With money in hand, Yi Hao rushed back to the hospital. At that time, his father's condition was worsening without the medicine. The attending doctor remained patiently waiting. But the greedy department head did not. I heard these broke peasants still haven't paid the medical fees. Why are they still here? He kicked open the ward door, shouting harshly. The doctor quickly explained, they've already paid the emergency fees, but the hospitalization cost is indeed too high. In response, the department head grabbed the doctor by the collar. What the hell are you doing? We run a hospital, not a charity. These worthless lives haven't paid for their medicine yet, get them out. The doctor pleaded for the Yi family to have more time. Their eldest son said he's gone to get the money. His reply was met with a vicious slap. To the department head, Yi Hao was just a high schooler, a level 3 martial artist. Where could he possibly get 300,000? The poor doctor trembled, unable to utter another word. Then the man turned toward the hospital bed, glaring at the oxygen-breathing father. This nutrient fluid is rare stuff. Even if you sold your parents, it wouldn't be worth this much, and you still want treatment. With that, he reached to yank off the oxygen mask. Yi Yunfei grabbed his arm desperately, begging, please, just give us a little more time. My brother is about to bring the money back. But the heartless department head didn't bother to listen. Bring the money? This is the only hospital in the entire safe zone, not a place for low-class people like you. No money, then go home and wait to die. As he spoke, he shoved Yi Yunfei aside violently, nearly knocking her to the floor. Just then, Yi Hao kicked the door open. His voice thundered, stop right there. The department head gritted his teeth in rage and lunged forward, grabbing Yi Hao by the collar. Damn brat, who the hell are you to break into a hospital room? Pay up now. Yi Hao answered with eyes as cold as a messenger from hell. Was it this hand you used to harm my family? He wasn't bluffing. Yi Hao instantly invoked the power of the Qi Yan Emperor, igniting the hand gripping his collar in flames. The flames on his hand couldn't be extinguished. The department head was terrified and bolted out of the room. The doctor turned anxiously. Yi Hao, what did you do to him? Why did his hands suddenly catch fire? Although he had the right to expel us, he raised his hand against my family. That I cannot tolerate. Consider this a small punishment. Don't worry, I'll pay another 10,000 yuan as compensation for medical treatment. After speaking, Yi Hao looked at the doctor and sincerely praised his medical ethics. If everyone were like him, patients would have so much less to suffer. Hearing that, the doctor let out a sigh of relief. That department head had it coming, he thought. Always flaunting his power as the dean's nephew, acting like a tyrant. Today's payback was well deserved. Yi Hao took out a card 310,000 yuan. The doctor accepted it with firm resolve, promising to take the best care of his family. Yi Hao thanked him for his trust. This time, I owe him a favor. No need to thank me, this is what a true doctor should do, the man replied, though his eyes quietly scanned Yi Hao from head to toe. Self-cured from debuffs, gathered 300,000 in no time. This kid is anything but ordinary. The doctor left. Now only the 4 members of the Yi family remained in the ward. Yi Yunfei couldn't hold back any longer and burst into tears, trembling all over. She kept apologizing to Yi Hao for failing to protect their parents. Yi Hao gently comforted her. She herself was injured and weak, how could she have fought against that fat department head? Yi Yunfei felt even more miserable. Because of the lingering debuff, she couldn't participate in the academy's dungeon tournament the next day. She had signed up and sworn to win to improve the family's life. Now everything was ruined, and she had even caused her brother to go borrow money. Yi Hao temporarily set aside the matter of money and asked about the tournament. Was it the annual dungeon competition with a high cash prize? Yi Yunfei nodded. Rumor says the prize this year has been raised to 500,000, so I spent a whole year preparing only to get poisoned right before the match. 500,000. Yi Hao's eyes lit up. He placed a hand on her shoulder. Just rest and recover. Leave the money to me. That 500,000 yuan is as good as ours. The next morning, the Academy's annual dungeon tournament officially began. During the opening ceremony, the principal announced the prize, 500,000 yuan. There would even be bonus rewards depending on dungeon completion. The reason for this year's unusually high prize was the sponsorship of the Han Mo Corporation. Amid the cheers of thousands of students, Mo Kenny appeared with 2 bodyguards, radiating noble grace. The students below screamed wildly. The principal announced another shocking piece of news: the champion would be directly recruited into the Han Mo Corporation's Mo Force Battle Squad, one of the top-tier teams. Joining the Mo Force Battle Squad. That was a one-step leap to glory. The crowd erupted in excitement. Only Yi Hao remained calm. The rivalry between corporations is indeed fierce. This heiress came all the way to the academy to recruit talent herself. He didn't care. His goal was singular: the prize money. After the introductions, the principal got to the main topic. This year's challenge: conquer the haunted Abyss City. A level 510 dungeon. It was one of the Academy's high-level instances, no one had ever cleared it. The weakest monsters were level 5, and the final boss was an elite level 10 demonic beast. Meanwhile, the average student level was 5. Wasn't this suicide? Yi Hao curiously looked up at the screen. The image of the final boss appeared: Phantom Tree Demon, level 10, a true elite monster. Many students turned pale and lost hope. Knew it, the academy never gives away easy prizes. Only Yi Hao smiled. A level 10 Phantom Tree Demon. My synchronization with the Qi Yen Emperor is level 12 perfect. Because of the dungeon's difficulty, the academy allowed team formations of up to 5 members. This information revived the students' morale. With a strong team, victory was possible. However, the tournament also included a PvP mode: players could steal monsters and ambush other teams. So they want to train both combat and survival skills, Yi Hao smirked. Principal, what if a team wins? How will it be counted? A student raised a hand. Haha, I'm sure many of you have the same question, the principal laughed heartily, as if expecting it. The tournament is based on individual accumulation, but the combat energy accumulated from the Phantom Tree Demon will be shared within the team. The team with the highest accumulation will be the victor. To add even more tension, he announced a harsher rule. In the PvP zone, if you defeat another team, you can seize their accumulated points, a mechanic that encouraged mutual slaughter. The students' emotions rose and fell like a roller coaster. Many were already considering giving up. But it was too late. The tournament had officially begun. The students quickly began searching for teammates. An ideal lineup usually required balanced roles such as offense, defense, healing, and support. However, no team wanted to accept a level 3 waste like Yi Hao. Ignoring the mocking voices around him, Yi Hao didn't care. He had no intention of teaming up with anyone anyway. Going solo meant freedom and no need to share the loot. Thinking so, he headed straight to the registration desk. The supervising teacher looked up, surprised to see Yi Hao standing alone. "Hey, where are your teammates?" "It's just me, teacher. Please help me register." The teacher wanted to persuade him otherwise. A lone level 3 martial artist in a dungeon where the weakest monsters were level 5 was far too risky. Before Yi Hao could respond, a mocking voice sounded from behind. "A waste who can't level up just breathing is a waste of air. Don't bother with him, teacher. Let him go die on his own." Yi Hao turned around, his eyes filled with annoyance. "You again." Luo Feng's lackeys gathered around, shouting noisily. Of course, Luo Feng wouldn't miss the chance to humiliate him. He loudly challenged in front of everyone, "If Yi Hao crawls on the ground and barks twice, I'll take him into the dungeon." The two lackeys behind him burst into laughter. "Oh really? And how exactly does a dog bark?" Yi Hao asked calmly. Luo Feng, basking in smugness, answered without thinking, "Woof. Woof. Woof." The moment he finished, both he and his two lackeys froze. Realizing he'd been tricked, Luo Feng roared furiously and swung his fist at Yi Hao. But before the punch landed, the teacher stepped in. "If you want to fight, do it inside the dungeon. Fighting here won't earn you any points." Stopped mid-action, Luo Feng had no choice but to swallow his anger. He pointed at Yi Hao and growled, "Once we're inside the dungeon, I'll be waiting for you to hand me your head." With that, the group strutted away. After Luo Feng's team disappeared, Yi Hao turned back to urge the teacher. Although worried, she had no right to stop a student. "Your courage is commendable, but in the end, results depend on strength. I can only wish you luck." She handed him the registration slip as she spoke. Yi Hao accepted it politely, thanked her, and stepped decisively through the teleportation gate. The moment he entered his first dungeon ever, the royal account system immediately sent a reward, 2,000 experience points. From another corner, Mo Kenny happened to notice Yi Hao's figure. It took her a few seconds to recognize him, the same boy she'd met at the black market yesterday. A mere level 3 dared to step into the black market, and now he was challenging a level 5 to 10 dungeon alone. How amusing. Let's see if you've got more than just guts. Mo Kenny murmured softly, already remembering the name Yi Hao in her heart. Inside the haunted deep forest dungeon. The air was thick and oppressive, creating an almost suffocating tension. On the other side of the teleportation gate, Yi Hao had officially entered the dungeon. Each participant's spawn point was random to prevent teams from slaughtering one another right at the start. This was perfectly suited to his plan. His current objective was to clear out nearby monsters as fast as possible. Without hesitation, Yi Hao got to work. He quickly accumulated a large number of points. Hunting low-level monsters wasn't difficult but took more time than expected. The dungeon was vast, and monsters were scattered everywhere. To win quickly, he'd have to target higher-level beasts. At that moment, Yi Hao noticed several small spiders crawling in the same direction. Trusting his instincts, he decided to follow them. Tracking their trail, he ventured deeper into a dark cave. The scene inside took him by surprise. A massive crimson web stretched across the cavern, and a young girl was tightly bound upon it. Her name was Nguyen DM, a level 5 healer. It seemed she was quite unlucky captured by the dungeon spider leader right after entering. Then again, healers lacked combat power, so becoming the first target made sense. Ruan Jianjian slowly opened her drowsy eyes. She screamed in panic for help. Amid her despair, a figure entered her sight. If you want to live, then keep quiet. With that, Yi Hao swiftly leapt onto a tree branch right above Ruan Jianjian. If you keep screaming like that, even if the monster comes, I won't risk saving you again. It was twilight, but Ruan Jianjian still recognized the young man Yi Hao, the brother of Yi Yunfei, the infamous player who couldn't level up. Just as a spark of hope ignited, it was instantly extinguished. Why is it you? Why did you enter this dungeon? You're only level 3. Are you trying to die? Just leave me and run, or when the beast returns, you'll die with me. Yi Hao merely shrugged. Because Ruan Jianjian happens to be Yi Yunfei's best friend. If she finds out I let her friend die, she'll probably tear me apart. What he needed now was to make Ruan Jianjian shut up and stay still. But the girl, unaware of his true power, kept begging him to escape. A level 3 like you can't possibly cut through elite level 8 spider silk. Really? It's just an elite level 8 beast. Yi Hao replied indifferently, a flame suddenly igniting in his palm. In an instant, all the webbing that bound Ruan Jianjian was burned to ashes. Freed, she still couldn't believe her eyes. The one who saved her was the so-called waste, forever stuck at level 3, unable to level up. After rescuing her, Yi Hao urged her to hurry and rejoin her team. Wandering here alone was far too dangerous. But before he could finish, a sticky liquid suddenly dripped onto his shoulder. Yi Hao looked up. The red widow beast had appeared out of nowhere. Not good. Burning the web earlier must have alerted it. The substance it secreted was poisonous. Instinctively, Yi Hao grabbed Ruan Jianjian and leapt down from the branch. But both of them fell straight into another web hammock already woven below. He hadn't expected the creature to have set traps beforehand. It must be the hunting instinct of an elite monster. Having to carry a girl without combat ability placed him in a severe disadvantage. The red web suddenly tightened, binding them together. Crushed chest to chest, Ruan Jianjian gasped in terror as the red widow slowly crept closer. She thought she was done for. If not strangled, she'd be devoured. Stop struggling. The more you move, the tighter it gets. Yi Hao snapped. He cursed his luck. Lately, he seemed cursed to deal with spiders. Even with the royal account system, his combat experience was still too raw. One careless move had led to a deadly situation. If he got out of this, he'd have to train harder. But for now, escaping this trap came first. The endless crying beside him only made his headache worse. Strangely, the red widow didn't eat them right away. Instead, it silently slithered away. Naive as ever, Ruan Jianjian thought maybe they weren't to its taste. But Yi Hao knew better. He understood this monster's habits. After catching prey, it would lay eggs inside their bodies, turning them into hosts for its offspring. The only reason it left was because it hadn't eaten enough yet. Once it was full, it would come back. No. I don't want to give birth to its babies. Ruan Jianjian screamed in horror, struggling so hard that the web tightened even more. Yi Hao shouted in vain. Girls her age were impossible to reason with. Being tied this close to a girl, their bodies pressed together, made him flustered. Wang Diandian ignored his words, still crying and squirming non-stop. Yi Hao was beyond frustrated. If this went on, he'd die right here. They were too tightly bound together. If he forcibly used the power of the Qi Yan Emperor, she'd be hurt for sure. There was only one option left. Yi Hao bent down and bit into a strand of web. Wang Diandian panicked, thinking he was doing something indecent. What are you doing? Of all times, you pick now to act like a pervert. Stop imagining things. I'll say this once more: if you want to live, stop moving and making weird noises. Yi Hao kept biting through the web strands one by one, luckily discovering they weren't poisonous. That allowed him to keep cutting through them with difficulty. Yi Hao urged, "Bite with me once the web hardens, we won't get another chance to escape." Wang Jianjian started biting at the web alongside him. But she was so clumsy that she accidentally bit him several times instead. After much struggling, they finally broke free. Wang Jianjian collapsed to the ground, bursting into tears. Hoo, finally saved. It's not time to relax yet, get up and run. Yi Hao snapped. He really couldn't understand how someone like her could be best friends with his demoness of a sister, Yi Yunfei. Still, Wang Jianjian refused to stand. My legs are too weak. I can't move anymore. Worse yet, at that moment, the Red Widow returned. Yi Hao pushed Wang Jianjian aside. Go find your team, I'll handle this. Yet the girl wouldn't leave, clutching his sleeve. Hey, if you're trying to act cool, pick a better time. You're only level 3, you can't fight an elite level 8 monster. Run with me. Run. Yi Hao sneered. I didn't enter this dungeon to be some prey running for its life. My goal is to hunt. I have a debt to settle, and it's time I collect it. In just a few seconds, the Red Widow loomed right before him. Wang Jianjian still stubbornly refused to leave, but Yi Hao no longer had the patience to deal with her. He simply tossed a cold warning, telling her not to get in his way. Yi Hao's sharp gaze shot forward, his invisible pressure making Wang Jianjian tremble involuntarily. She quickly stammered, claiming she was a level 5 healer who could help if he got injured. His glance swept past her for only a moment, yet it sent chills down her spine. How could a level 3 possess such terrifying aura? Wang Jianjian even briefly wondered if Yi Hao had some way of concealing his true power, but quickly dismissed the thought, it sounded too absurd. Leaving the girl behind, Yi Hao strode alone toward the Red Widow. Black spiders or red spiders, they were all the same. He would use this monster to vent his fury, thinking of his family still lying in the hospital after being wounded by spiders. He drew the flame shadow sword. Seeing a mere level 3 human daring to challenge it, the Red Widow screeched in rage. Yi Hao looked down on it. Even more unlike the demon-eyed beast, this one couldn't even speak human tongue. Clearly, it was far inferior. And just as he predicted, the Red Widow was much weaker. Instantly, the flame shadow greatsword swung down. It carved a sharp arc through the air. With just one strike, the spider's massive body was cleaved in two. Witnessing the scene, Wang Jianjian stood frozen in shock. How could such power belong to a waste who couldn't level up? A single blow to slay an elite level 8 beast. She must have been right. Yi Hao was hiding his true strength. Yi Hao successfully defeated the Red Widow, earning 1,000 tournament points, 100 times more than the minor monsters he'd hunted before. The system also granted him 5,000 experience points. Surprisingly, Wang Jianjian received 500 points as well. Even though she had contributed nothing and almost dragged him down. Realizing she had lucked into a huge gain, she immediately changed her plan. Forget reuniting with her old team, her new goal was to stick close to this great god. She even clung to him shamelessly. Great god, tell me your secret. How do you hide your level? I mean, you were already a level 3 genius when you enrolled. How could you stay at the same level for so long? You must have a reason, right? Can you tell me? Such a slave to points. Yi Hao started to regret saving her. Fortunately, besides the 1,000 dungeon points, the royal account system had rewarded him with 5,000 experience points, keeping him in good spirits. Otherwise, he'd have scolded Wang Diandian already. Still, the secret of the system was something he could never reveal. You can have your share of points, but the loot's all mine. Got a problem with that? Of course, Wang Diandian had none. Following him for points was all she cared about. Yi Hao then checked his loot. An item appeared. The system labeled it as Venom Fang of the Red Widow, a one-time use combat item. Yi Hao felt lucky. Though the spider hadn't dropped equipment, such consumable items were highly sought after on the black market, easily sold for a fortune. But the luck didn't stop there. Suddenly, a bright light enveloped the Fang, and a message popped up: Venom Fang of the Red Widow has undergone a random upgrade, becoming critical. Venom Fang of the Red Widow, gaining bleed, poison, and weaken effects, with usage increased to 3 times. Yi Hao was stunned. Items dropped from monsters could upgrade on the spot. That was unheard of. He suddenly remembered the ring that dropped from the demon-eyed beast earlier and quickly opened his inventory to check. Sure enough, it was the lucky ring, the very item granting the random upgrade effect on drops. With this ring, his future equipment farming would be unstoppable. Yi Hao was thrilled, and would have been even more so if Wang Diandian weren't stuck to him like glue. Listen, I suggest you keep some dignity and stop clinging to people. I'm not a pervert. Yi Hao brushed her hand away. But Wang Diandian stubbornly clung tighter. Who said you're a pervert? I'm just scared. I feel safe near you, great God. Everyone at school says you're trash, but that's just an act, right? What item did you use to conceal your real level? I'm so curious, how strong are you really? The more she talked, the more Yi Hao's patience wore thin. At last, he snapped, shaking her hand off forcefully and warning her. He wanted to go solo for a reason. If she insisted on following, she'd better stay quiet and keep his secret. Otherwise, he wouldn't hesitate to act, even if she was his sister's best friend. Once again cowed by Yi Hao's pressure, Wang Diandian instantly covered her mouth in submission. They had barely walked a few steps when a mocking voice rang out from behind. Well, isn't that Wang Diandian? Still alive? I'm surprised the Red Widow didn't eat you. Guess your luck's something else. It was her former team, led by Li Yong, the very ones who had deliberately left her behind as bait to kick her out. A fool who spends all day chasing magic has no place in our team. If not for being classmates, I wouldn't have brought you into the dungeon at all. Li Yong currently had 3,000 points. No wonder he acted so arrogant. Wang Diandian fumed. That coward had used her as bait and ran off, and now he dared to mock her once the danger was gone. How shameless could a man be? Li Yong was about to sneer again. But one of his subordinates suddenly noticed the smoldering corpse of the Red Widow nearby, its flames still burning, refusing to die out. Li Yong's jaw dropped. The Red Widow. Dead? I spent ages gathering a team to come back for revenge. Wang Diandian, don't tell me this was your doing. So what if it was? Wang Diandian shot back proudly. She tried to grab Yi Hao's arm again, but he coldly pushed her away. The great God and I joined forces to kill the Red Widow. You got a problem with that? Bunch of cowards like you aren't even in the same league. Being dragged into her drama made Yi Hao's head ache. Meanwhile, Li Yong's group recognized him at once, the infamous, level 3 failure, of the academy. They burst into laughter. Wang Diandian, this is the great God you're talking about. Did the magic fry your brain? Huh, what a pair, a magic-obsessed idiot and a useless waste. You two really are a perfect match. Their taunts turned Ruan Diandian's face beet red. You can insult me all you want, but you're not allowed to insult the great god. If you do, then I'll. She kept stammering for ages, unable to finish a single complete threat.